and welcome to the course on C Programming Learn to Code series. This is the 19th lecture of Unit 2, and in this lecture I will explain another example to understand the writing style of C. I will also explain the detail of the scanf function. So let's begin. Before I explain the detail of the scanf function and how to write a scanf function in our program, if you recall, in the last class we talked about how to declare a variable and how to assign a value to it and how to display the value which is stored in that particular location. So this is done by this particular line, that is int x is equal to 25. So what does this line do? Whenever the compiler executes this line, the compiler allocate a space for x and expecting an integer value over there, and we have also provided in this particular line, that is 25. So 25 gets stored in that location, and in the next line, that is your printf function, the printf function will execute and display that content, that is 25, on the screen. Now if you look into this program, here the number 25 is fixed. That means every time I'll execute this program, that location which is allocated by the compiler for x will contain the value 25 only. We cannot change the location's value. Even if I can change the program, means every time if I want to store a different number, then I should change the program line. That means this line need to be changed. That is, if I write int x is equal to 35, then only the 35 will be stored in that location. So the question here is, can a user provide some data to the program, or can the program will collect some data from the user who is running the code? Yes, it is possible. So how to do that? It will be possible through the concept of scanf. That means it is possible through a function which is provided by your C programming language. That name is scanf. So we will discuss what a scanf will do and how to write a scanf statement in our program. So before I will explain the scanf function, so let us understand what is scan, means what a scanner actually doing. So you have seen in your life, there are many times you have seen a device called a scanner. So what exactly the scanner will do? The scanner will scan something, or your document scanner, I am talking about document scanner. Whenever you use a scanner, let's say you have a document and you want to scan this document to your computer, means you want a soft copy of this hard document on your computer, then what you will do, you will and every time whenever you are using a scanner, the scanner is generally connected to a computer system like this. And then you put the document inside the scanner over here, and after the scanning process is over, your document is directly shown in the means it will be automatically transferred to your computer, and you can see the scanner in your computer directly through your monitor. Now the similar concept we can apply to a keyboard also. So what does it mean? It means whenever I press a key in the keyboard, then also that typed key or the value at that key will be transferred to the computer, and it will be used by the computer for any specific purpose we are typing in. So that facility, that means scanning the typed key value from the user, will be done by your scanf function. So how exactly the scanf function is written? The scanf function is exactly written by using this syntax. If you compare this syntax with your printf statement, is quite similar, with only one added symbols over here, that is ampersand. So let us understand what are the different components of a scanf function. So here you can see the scanf function. Scanf is a function, and this %d is used for format string. We all know what is a format string. If you don't know about format string, then you can watch the previous video. In the previous video I have explained all about the format strings or format specifier, I can say here. Then obviously we will need a variable where I am going to store the data which is typed on the keyboard. Then the extra symbol that is used over here is actually called the address of operator. That means whenever somebody types anything on the keyboard or press any key on the keyboard, the content is directly transferred and stored at the address of X. We know that we have already declared X in the program. We must have declared the variable X in the program, and a memory location has been there, means it has been already allocated to store some value in X. And when we write an %x, the compiler reads the data from the keyboard by scanning and store it in the place where the means it will take the value from the keyboard and store it in the X variable. Okay, so you have to give the address of X so that it will search the address and store there. Fine. So let us see with a program how to do it. Okay, so here I am going to write the program how does the scanf function will be used to read a value from the keyboard. So the first line, let us say as include stdio.h, then obviously int main, as I have already told you. Then there will be a statement called return 0. This is mandatory due to that int main. Now let us write the code for our program. So first of all, to scan a value from the keyboard, we need to declare a variable and give some name to it. So I am declaring int x here again. Now, so to access the means to scan the value, we need to use the scanf function that I have already discussed in the syntax. Now I'm going to write that statement over here. So I'll write scanf. Okay, so then I have to write %d for your integer variable. Then we have to put a comma over here, and we should write %x, that is address of X. There I want to store the value which is scanned by your scanf function. So let me put the semicolon. Then I have to print the value of X, which we have already discussed, so no need to discuss over here again. So let's say %d. Then we have to write X over here. So you can clearly see the difference between the printf and scanf. In printf we are using %d x only, that means we want to display the value, and in scanf you can see here that is %x, that means we want to store the value which is typed in on the keyboard in the address of X. So quite simple. So let us save it by pressing Ctrl S. Now let me run it. So what the VS Code will do with this, let us see. So when we type this, when we run this, now you can see nothing is happening over here. Means neither any value is displayed over here. Actually, the compiler is waiting for something to be typed in due to this scanf function. It is here, written here, scanf %d %x. So the compiler is actually waiting somebody should type some value, then only he will take that value and store it in X. And after that, when he will execute the printf statement, then that value gets displayed. So let me type here 35, then I will press enter. Then you can see 35 get displayed. To understand it properly, or to understand it more, means let us change the code properly so that it will be displayed something like enter the value of X and so on. Okay, so let me first change the content here, at least the value of X entered by you is equal to %d. Okay, so what does it mean? It will display something like this: the value of x entered by u is 35. So let me save it, then we will run it again. You can see the difference over here. Again he is waiting to be to the number we should input it. So let's say this time I'm inputting, let's say 76. Then the answer will be something like this: the value of x entered by u is 76. But let me change the program again to make it more readable. So before scanf, let me add another printf statement over here. Printf enter the value of x. Okay, so that is that statement. Why I am writing it? So according to this statement, I am trying to take a input from the user through this scanf function, but before that, through this printf function, I am trying to say the user kindly enter a number. Okay, so that thing I am doing it. So let me save it first, then we will run it. You can see whenever I'm executing this, then the first line gets executed. Obviously the first line will be int x. It has already been executed and a variable x has been created in the memory. When the second line gets executed, it displays enter the value of x. Okay, now the output is enter the value of x. It is coming, but previously you can see the program does not say anything and halt for some time and waiting for the user to input some value, and the user is unknown about this. So to make the user aware about that something need to be inputted over here, so I have included this particular line, that is printf enter the value of x. So when I write printf enter the value of x, then the user is aware that I need to supply some value over here. Okay, so after I will put any value, then immediately the scanf function after this printf function will take that value and store it in x, and finally after storing it, this line will get executed and we will get a result something shown in the previous output itself. So let me put some value over here. Let's say this time I am entering 32. Okay, so what we should see, you can see here the value of x entered by u is 32. So it is a more meaningful way, means it is in a more wonderful way of writing the program, so that it gives some meaning and it should be more readable to the user. So whenever you are writing any program, you should specify before you are reading some value from the user, you should specify through a printf function, so that the user will know he is going to, means he was asking to supply a value to it, right? Now let us understand, let me change something over here so that you can see the reflections over the output over here. So I have written enter the value of x, so the user can input any type of value. He may put any character, he may put any float, whatever that may be. So if I'll change over here, let's say enter an integer, then also it will be more meaningful way of doing the program. So whenever I'm writing enter an integer, then the output will be something like this: enter an integer. So here we can provide any integer, let's say 87, and if I'll type it, the value of x entered by u is 87. So it is more interesting and more informative. Well, so can a scanf will be used to take two inputs simultaneously? Yes, it can be also possible. So let us see it, how it can be done. So I will put here another variable for storing another integer, let's say x comma y over here. Now I can ask the user enter two integers. Okay, two integers. Okay, sorry, two integers. So finally what we'll do, we will use the scanf function to read this. So here remember that whenever we are taking two integers, then 2%d need to be typed in without typing any comma between the %d. Okay, so you have to write %d, then after comma you have to write %x, and the second number you have to put in %y. Okay, so y is another variable. Now we know how to print the value of x and y using printf statement, means two variables value. So I will explain something like this. The value of x is, it will be so long, so that let us reduce it. The value of x is %d, and the value of y is %d. So in the place of %d, the answer gets replaced. So let me put here what I am going to put: x comma y. Then we have to close the bracket and put the semicolon. Now let me save it, Control S. Let me run it. So when we run this program, what will happen? He will asking about enter two integers. Let me, I'll enter 25. Sorry, not here. We have to put here 35 space 87. Now you can see. So it's showing the value of x is 35 and the value of y is 87. Okay, so you can enter the value by give a space between the entered number, that is 35 then space 87, or you can apply the value like 35 then press enter then give the second number. Let me show you first over here. So if I'll run the program again, he'll ask you enter two integers. So here you can type 45 then press enter, let's say 73. Then what the output will be? The value of x is 45 and the value of y is 73. Now I hope you understand how to use the scanf function for taking a single input and for taking multiple inputs. If you have any doubt on this discussion, you can post your questions in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.